Asante sana mwenyekiti wa mkutano huu wa Kenya Wazalendo na tuombe. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu ambaye kwa hekima na wema wako umeteua nyadhifa za viongozi na mabunge kwa ustawi wa jamii na utawala wa haki wa wanadamu, twakusihi ututazame kwa neema nyingi sisi watumishi wako ambao umeridhika kutuita ili tutekeleze shughuli muhimu za jamhuri hii yetu. Twakuomba uteremshie baraka zako sisi tuliokutanika hapa, na utujalie tuyatende na kufikiria mambo yote yatakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili utukufu na sifa zako ziendelezwe, na ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi hii yetu na wala ambao haja zao umesikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amina.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ruto. Next, I will introduce to you the members of this committee who are present. Others will join us shortly. From my far right, kindly introduce yourself.
Good morning. This is Dr. Rico John Omoit, Member of Parliament for Turkana South, Turkana County, Member of Finance and National Planning Committee.
Chair, thank you. My name is Shiforomodo Mangale, MP Lungalunga constituency, a member of this committee. Thank you.
Nami naitwa Mwasibu Julius Ruto, mjumbe eneo bunge la Keses na moja kamati ya bunge husika na masuala ya fedha. Asante.
On behalf of our parliamentary staff, the gentleman in front here, introduce yourselves on behalf of the others.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Benson Kamande, Assistant Clerk.
Loro, I said all of you in front here.
Good morning. I'm Salem Lorot, Legal Counsel.
Good morning, Chair. I'm Najisa Jos from PBO.
Before we start the other meeting, we have International Institute for Legislative Affairs. Are you here? First of all, let me welcome all of you. This is the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning. We are currently doing public participation on Finance Bill 2025. According to our Constitution, we are required to seek the views of Kenyans on any legislative agenda that Parliament is engaged in. And we have been sitting here for the last 1 week, listening to different stakeholders and getting their views. I know Kenyans outside there, they always accuse us of, they say it's already done. Lakini nataka kusema ya kwamba hii ni mkutano muhimu sana. Tunaweza badilisha ile finance bill kabla hatujamaliza kulingana na maoni ya Wakenya vile tumesikiza. Hata ile ingine ya mwaka jana ambao vijana wetu, mko vijana hapa? Vijana muko? Hata ile ya jana mlipigana sana. The final bill that was supposed to have been ascended to had actually been amended. All the controversial issues were amended based on the views that we had from the public. So we had a very good final product. But finally, of course, no one was willing to listen to anything else. It was just reject. Even today I've been informed that you young guys, again, you're at it again. So this is not an exercise in futility. This is a very important exercise where we listen to Kenyans. And by the way, finally, we will do amendments based on what we hear, what is current to Kenyans. So It's not an exercise in futility. It's a very important exercise. Your views will count. Yeah? I can tell you the final finance, which was supposed to become Finance Act, was the best. But now, because things went the way they went, we ended up losing some of the very important proposals that were there in the finance bill. Finance bill is meant to update the current finance laws, maybe to raise more revenue, to reduce losses of revenue through maybe people not paying taxes, giving powers KRA to ensure that we stop leakages. And by the way, if you look at finance bill in isolation, we lose the point. We must see the finance bill together with the budget of Kenya, because finance bill is the one that helps Kenya to raise finances, which then forms the budget, which then we budget for Kenyans. So when you see we are saying we are employing teachers, extra teachers, when you see we are employing more nurses, we are adding money to counties, it's because we are raising money from this finance bill to be able to support Kenyans outside there. So karibuni sana. That was just by way of introduction. So how many issues do you want to raise international issues for legislative affairs?
Thank you, sir.
How many issues do you want to raise so that I time you?
3 main issues.
No, you must be focused. What exactly do you want to achieve? You don't just run through everything. I give you 20 minutes to make your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
All right. Chair?
Okay, maybe I didn't introduce myself. My name is Benjamin Langat. I am member of parliament for Ainamoi constituency, Kericho County. I am the vice chairman of this committee. I'm sitting in for the chairman. He might join us later on. So karibuni sana.
Thank you, sir. All protocols observed. Good morning. We are pleased and honored at the same time to be before you this morning. And I'd like to appreciate the opportunity to come before the committee and present our proposals. We were here before this committee last year for the Finance Bill 2024. And I concur with what you've said, Chair, that this is an important process, that you get the views of the public. So we appreciate the opportunity to share our views. Before I proceed, I'd like to just take a minute to introduce the team I'm with. I'll start with myself. My name is Celine Awor. I lead the International Institute for Legislative Affairs as the Chief Executive Officer. We are a not-for-profit organization. We work with policymakers to support the formulation and implementation of policies that address the needs of the people. So with me, on my right, I have two of my colleagues.
Let them introduce themselves.
Yes, please, go ahead.
We want to hear the young man also and the young lady.
Yes, good morning. My name is Linnox Magara. As a Gen Z and as a legal officer at the International Institute, this is a good opportunity for us to get in our opinions to the finance bill and hopefully see the changes in the Finance Act later when it is assented to.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Kelvin Kiramba Mithamo. I'm a program officer at ILA. And it's not the first time we've appeared before the committee, and it's a pleasure to do so once again. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair, and all protocols observed. My name is Dr. Shukri Mohammed. I work for the African Population and Health Research Center, which is a research and policy organization, based here in Kenya, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. So we work very closely with APHRC, and Dr. Shukri will be speaking also on the taxes that we are proposing for unhealthy products. So maybe just to go quickly to our proposals, the same has been shared on the link that was provided, is just first to acknowledge and really appreciate what the committee and the government has done to address tobacco epidemic. And I want to start by just informing us that today is World No Tobacco Day. And as we speak, the CS Health and the PS of Health are in Eldoret, Uasin Gishu County. I actually just came in from Eldoret this morning to come make this presentation. Otherwise, the event is being marked there. And what we are looking at, government is really pushing for measures to protect the young people from tobacco products. So in regards to tobacco, our proposal this morning is that we appreciate what was adopted through the Tax Laws Amendment Act in December 2024 that raised slightly the taxes on cigarettes to 4,100 shillings per meal. However, there's a bigger problem. I believe you've heard of products called vapes or electronic cigarettes. Now, these products are still not taxed effectively. And in fact, this year's theme for World No Tobacco Day is focusing on unmasking the lies and that are being used to hook young people into these products. So at the moment, these products are taxed in two categories. We have the electronic cigarettes themselves, the gadgets. They attract an ad valorem tax of 40% of the value of the product. And this tax has not been reviewed for the past almost 4 years. So the last review was in 2022. This means that these products are they've become quite affordable. So our proposal is that the taxes on these products should be increased. They've not been increased for the past 4 years, yet they are very much being used by the young people. So these are electronic cigarettes. So those are the gadgets. But then the liquid that is used in the gadgets, the e-cigarette liquid, is taxed at 100 shillings per milliliter. That is also quite low. So we are proposing that it be increased. Because what happens, if we have certain tobacco products that are cheaper than the others, because it is an addictive product, people can switch or substitute. So right now, young people are using these products a lot. And they come in various forms. Some you may not even know. People are surprised in Eldoret when we showed them the product. Some look like highlighter pens, others look like toys. So young people, even parents don't know when their children are using this product because they are easily accessible. So our proposal is to address taxes on these products.
You know, it is good when you give your opinion, you also make a suggestion or a recommendation, say from 100 per ml to how much? Do you put it 200? 1,000?
Thank you, and I will do so. So for the e-liquid, which attracts a specific tax, at the moment the tax is 100 shillings per milliliter. We are proposing that this be doubled to 200 shillings per milliliter. Then for the gadgets themselves, the device that is taxed at 40% of the value ad valorem, we are proposing that this be increased to at least 60% of the value of the product. So those are for the e-cigarettes. Then I will now move to alcohol taxes, and also appreciating what the committee adopted last year and government adopted through the Tax Laws Amendment Act of 2024 that changed the tax basis for alcohol products to a content-based tax. So at the moment, alcoholic drinks are taxed based on the amount of pure alcohol, which is good for public health. Now, the challenge with this, sir, is that through that change, taxes on beers reduced. but I'm not sure the price is reduced. I'm saying that just to make a point that when we have tax structures that are not uniform for such products, the industry will manipulate the gaps, and they will manipulate to their benefit. So and because these products, again, being psychoactive and addictive, the effect will still be there even when they are cheaper. So it's better to have them at a rate that keeps them out of reach of especially children, because health taxes are meant to deter, to protect those who have not started by making the products not affordable, and of course to mobilize resources. I mean, these taxes can really generate revenue for government, and we know that government, serikali natafuta pesa. So these taxes could be one.
You see, in matters of alcohol, there is, of course, the best situation is we make sure we avoid alcohol. That is the best situation. Yeah? But you and I, we know it is not possible. We can make alcohol very expensive so that it's not affordable to these young men and girls. But the problem, again, there is a problem because then they will switch to this illicit alcohol, which is even worse than this other alcohol. So that is where the problem, and that's because government is there for everybody. Yeah, government is there for you and I, the young men, those who drink, those who don't drink. Those who don't drink say, no, we should make alcohol not affordable. Yeah, but the truth of the matter is, if you make it not affordable, the good alcohol, then they will switch to even a terrible alcohol, the illicit brews, the cheap illicit brews. So that is where the balancing should be done. Yeah.
Maybe, Chair, they can give us their proposals because I know they're on the ground. Listening to them, they're always where the gist of the matter is. So maybe let's listen from you. It might inform us better in the best way.
Thank you. So the problem of, people call it illicit, we prefer calling it unrecorded alcohol, is a challenge that evidence shows that mostly because of poor enforcement. Because look at the illicit brew and the illicit alcohol, they're both harmful. Yeah. So even if alcohol was to become cheap, let's say the legitimate, the illicit products, even if they were not to be taxed that much, that they are very cheap, I'm not so sure that some unscrupulous people somewhere would still not come up with those products that are evading taxes. They will still be there. So I think the gap there that has been shown is that the gap mostly is in poor enforcement and compliance. And that is what gives growth to the unrecorded alcohol. So our proposal is that we acknowledge that taxation is not a silver bullet, as they say. That even as we tax these products, we should strengthen the other components like enforcement and compliance. That is what will help to seal the gaps that leads to this unrecorded alcohol. Lastly is on the raw material, the ethanol. And I know the finance bill is proposing under clause 42 to tax the extra neutral alcohol ENA at, I think it's 500 shillings.
And by the way, your time is
up.
Because we interjected, I'll give you another 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Then our proposal there, sir, is to, number one, consider increasing rates for beer. Number two, we are currently taxing small licensed manufacturers at a much lower tax than the other big boys. So alcohol, whether it is manufactured locally or imported, the effect is the same. So the tax should apply the same, and it's also not a good trade practice. Lastly, I'll go to sugar sweetened beverages, because we are looking at unhealthy products. And these products have not been, the tax has not been adjusted for a long time, since I think 2022. The current tax is 14 shillings and 14 cents per liter. These products are harmful because evidence shows they cause a lot of problems, from cavity-related issues to obesity, diabetes, and all that. So our proposal is that we increase taxes, so like the soft drinks and other sugary drinks, by at least 10%. And for all these products, we are appealing to this committee to consider reinstating the inflation adjustment that was repealed in 2023. Because when these taxes, being specific taxes, when the inflation is not adjusted over time, the real value of the tax is eroded, and the real value of the prices also is eroded, meaning the products become affordable over time. Yet that is what we are trying to avoid. So I'll invite Dr. Shukri maybe to add something on the taxes we are proposing on sugar sweetened beverages, and then we can get any questions from the committee. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Celine. But I think you've covered most of what I needed to say. But just to reiterate that the issue of non-communicable diseases is already on the rise, and the main culprit for the increasing burden is unhealthy foods. And so the reason that we are proposing a taxation on the sugar-sweetened beverages is based on research that's showing the rising burden of NCDs and hypertension, diabetes. Our hospital beds are full of people who have cardiovascular diseases, and one of the strategies to reduce this burden is to also curb the use of unhealthy foods. So unhealthy foods is not only the sugar-sweetened beverages, but it could be a wide range of foods. Kenya developed a nutrient profile model which sort of classifies foods in terms of thresholds of contents of nutrients of concern. And one of the issues is the sugar-sweetened drinks, which we feel is maybe a starting point of where we should start our taxation. Celine has mentioned a 10%, but I wanted to also say that in other countries, they've started with higher percentages. In South Africa, they introduced a 20% taxation, as well as in Ghana, within the continent. And Kenya usually leads in some of these initiatives, and we're really falling behind in terms of those initiatives. And I feel like the money that we collect from that taxation is going to also help with other things in the country. We're now looking for money for school meals, and that could be somewhere we could also plug into. So yeah, and so some of the success stories I've seen from other countries is that there's been a drop in the use of those sugar-sweetened beverages in some countries such as Mexico, South Africa, France, and Ghana. So I think it's a high time that in Kenya we also start thinking about those taxations. I know we've mentioned 10%, but I would recommend that we do higher, because these are unhealthy foods. They're not adding any value to our population, the young people that we are coming up with. The juices that we drink are highly loaded with sugar, so it's something that we can consider. Thank you.
You done? Okay, thank you, Chair.
Yes, thank you.
Chair, maybe just quickly respond. One issue I wanted to raise concern that you tried to make some attempt on how to manage is the issue of enforcement. Taxes on tobacco. The other day we had a meeting with the players in the sector of tobacco. They have no problem with taxation, but they have problem with illicit entry of other products from our borders. Smuggling of this, whatever we are seeing here, most of those in the shelves doesn't come through proper structured procedure that can be seen, they can be protected. So probably, I think what you said on the issue of enforcement is probably we need to voice out so much the aspect so that even as we put taxes to deter and only limit to those people who must use within their ability and their knowledge, we have a problem with the more we go up, the more we usher in and control competition through smuggling. This issue of sugar, sweetened products, I think there was one member of parliament for Nandi Hills who said here and tabled a proposal. So I'm sure it's also in line with that. Do we have tools in place either with CAPS or any organization in the country who can assist, be able to identify and understand these particular products? I mean, within a given parameter, so that it's not a general. Remember, we also have our farmers who are growing sugar again, and we are encouraging domestic production of sugar. So how do we separate this from the medical point of view? I think it is something that we need to have a clear definition, even in the tax law, so that we're able to. So if you have a better way of redefining it other than the proposal you are giving, so that we can define exactly what is that particular sugar. Lastly, Chair, the issue of ethanol, you are saying, are you proposing we don't tax the raw materials, but rather we focus on the end product? Or what is the difference? If we load taxes on the ethanol, I'm told again there's another there's another one other than ethanol. There is something also that they have gone which is more worse than the ethanol. So should we avoid the raw material and focus on final product, or I never understood that one. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much for those remarks and appreciating that enforcement really needs to be strengthened. And part of what the CS will be doing in Eldoret today is destroying tons of illicit tobacco products that were nabbed through the Eldoret airport. So it is a problem. And when these products come illicitly, they don't have the tax stamps, so they've not paid taxes. So it is something that needs to be strengthened. For the alcohol, so NACADA in their survey that was released in 2023 actually proposed that ethanol should have a kind of a special tax to keep it out of reach of the unscrupulous traders who then use it to make these, they're called third generation drinks and all that. So it is a space that I believe we need to have also guidance from the government actors like NACADA and also KRA, because it is also one of the areas that enforcement becomes a challenge. So I understand that for excise paid on raw materials, that manufacturers, I think, can be allowed to claim it at the final product, right? So the gap becomes when these taxes or the rates are not speaking to each other. The rate that is at the raw material and what is put at the final product. So I believe the committee should be able to also get some expert advice from the government agencies like NACADA, like what NACADA was proposing, to have a special tax for ethanol to protect the product from being misused. But otherwise, the excise that is placed on the final product for purposes of public health, that one is more effective in reducing consumption. So for us, that is what we really are focusing on, the excise on the final product, because that is what will directly translate to the price of the product. Yeah, so I'll invite Dr. Shukri to talk about the other question on the definition of SSBs.
In the
Thank you.
next
The tools.
2 minutes, we
2 minutes, yes. Okay, yeah. Thank you for that question with regards to what tools we have and whether we're working with KEBS. So Kenya has developed a nutrient profile model which classifies foods according to their nutrients of concern, and sugar is one of the nutrients of concern. And in that document, what it shows is that it's a policy document that guides several other policies, but it guides unhealthy foods. So you're able to tell the content. Like, so if you take sugar-sweetened beverages, there's a line for that. You're able to see what sugar content now makes that food unhealthy. So if you're beyond that threshold, then that food or drink is considered unhealthy. And this is not only for drinks, but it can be for all types of food. So that is a recently signed document. It's a policy document that will guide many other many other policies that are going to come. So that document is already there, and it can help you decide on which products to tax. But we are actually here only talking about the sugar-sweetened beverage taxation. But even within that, you can also think in terms of the taxation. I know we're only talking about sugar taxation of sugar-sweetened beverages, but we also need to think about subsidies in terms of which other products. As you're also taxing unhealthy foods, maybe we can also reduce some taxation or give subsidies on healthier foods that according from that particular document. So it's the Kenya Nutrient Profile Model. It has already been signed. It's a policy document, and that could be a guiding document in terms of what products to tax.
Thank you very much. The International Institute for Legislative Affairs, thank you for your presentation. We shall retreat and consider your proposals alongside others which we have received. So thank you very much. You may take your leave.
Thank you, sir.
Global Disaster Management Foundation, where are you? You're not there. Habits Consultants. Habits Consultants, not there. Kenya Youth Climate Advisory Council, this is which group? Huh? Oh, the second. Gentlemen, you should be. Global Disaster Management Foundation. Are you there? Put your mic on.
Our protocols observed. I was supposed to be giving my presentation, but as I have arrived here, I think I'm not feeling okay, so you can excuse me.
Okay, Paula.
Thank you very much.
Paula. Habits Consultants. Kenya Youth Climate Advisory Council. Maybe the gentleman who was supposed to, the Global Disaster Management Foundation, you can give your written submissions if you have. If you have your written submissions, you can give. Habits Consultants? Which group is this? You see, you must give time. I've called twice, and you're not responding. Yeah. Habits Consultants for the last call. So the next one we'll have is Bishop Jen. Where is Bishop?
So that we don't.
So gentleman and lady. Introduce yourselves and make your presentation. Okay, there is one member who walked in when we are done introductions. He can introduce himself.
Thank you, Session Chair. My name is Paul Kibichi Biego, Member of Parliament, Chesume constituency. Chesume is in Nandi County, and I'm a member of this Finance and National Planning Committee. Thank you.
So, Kenya Youth Climate Advisory Council, introduce yourselves.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I'm Derek Kinyo, part of the MNE for the Climate Youth Advisory Council. We are an initiative of the Organization of African Youth to discuss on youth-centered solutions on climate policy, especially national framework. Thank you.
Let your colleague, first of all, introduce herself. Are you in the same group? Introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity, Mr. Chair. I'm Valerie Ching, and the Secretary for the Kenya Youth Climate Advisory Council. Thank you.
So make your presentation in 10, maximum 15 minutes. Proceed.
Thank you. Our presentation is specifically on the recommendations on clause 42A(7) of the Finance Bill, which is the exercise duty on plastic inputs. So we had stakeholder consultations back in April, specifically on the packaging of plastics and the type of innovative solutions that are coming in with sustainable packaging. And we noted from the stakeholder consultation that successful fiscal incentive models in East Africa, we noted that SMEs that specifically deal with innovative sustainable packaging solutions are having trouble coming up with or meeting the demands or meeting the competition, especially with how normal plastics is focused on, because not many people know of some of the sustainable innovations, the innovative forms of sustainable packaging, and it's not been widespread specifically. And we are advocating specifically for clause 42A(7) because of its direct and substantial effect on youth-owned businesses in the emerging sustainable packaging industry, as well as its overall effect on national environmental related goals. So the clause, which proposes to include excise duty on imported other self-adhesive plates, sheets, films, foil, tape, strip, and other flat strips of plastics, whether or not in rolls of tariff number 3199090, but excluding those originating from East African Community Partner States that meet the East African Community Rules of Origin. So some of these specific plastic films that will be affected, and we see this as a critical challenge to these enterprises, especially related on taxation on inputs that aren't usually available locally. So the youth, in the consultation also, the youth indicated taxes, levies such as being proposed will significantly increase their production. Potentially, we've estimated as the Climate Advisory Council in a 20 to 30% range on these critical inputs based on the initial conversations. So it can have some very crippling ability to provide competitively priced sustainable alternatives to consumers. These are needs to encourage the development and use of sustainable materials and reduce the dependence on problematic single-use plastics. An undifferentiated high excise on all imported plastic, including those that contribute to a sustainable solution, could hinder this transition by reducing the attractiveness of greener solutions and result in a violation of strategy goals. The packaging industry, based on an analysis, is worth a considerable sum, approximately $585 million back in 2021, and it's expecting growth according to sources like Packaging World Kenya. the Kenya National Bureau, we use the MSME survey 2016, indicates SMEs are the backbone of the economy. The packaging subsector for sustainable packaging led by youth is still nascent, but growth potentially exists, as noted in the ND report, and there's a real potential for innovation and creation of new jobs. Implementing a prohibitive cost on essential inputs could undermine KYA expansion. Our position is we are against the proposed flat rate high excise duty under clause 42A7 on imported plastic films under tariff number 3919.9090, as not taking into consideration the specific function in sustainable solutions by youth-led enterprises. Our recommendations to the committee: amend clause 42A7 of the Finance Bill 2025 by adding a proviso to establish a differentiated structure of excise duty for the class of sustainable inputs used by verified youth-owned enterprises. We had the luxury of coming up with what we felt could be a good amendment, and that was as noted. Provided that imported self-adhesive plates, sheets, film, foil, tape, strip, and other shapes of plastic under tariff number 391.90.90, which are certified by the Kenya Bureau of Standards as biodegradable or compostable in accordance with the relevant and prevailing KEBS, national standards for biodegradable and compostable plastics for packaging, and imported by youth-owned enterprises verified under the Access to Government Procurement Opportunities or an equivalent recognized national framework for direct use in manufacturing sustainable packaging solutions, shall attract a rate of excise duty of 5% of the accessible value of 50 shillings per kilogram, whichever is greater applies to the plastic. So our rationale was specifically because establishing the exemption at a reduced 5% will present a reasonable compromise between revenue expectations, but not at the expense of young firms' ability to compete and sustain viable alternative ventures. This rate was indicated by our council stakeholders during engagement as a level that could potentially support youth-led enterprises using these specialized inputs, given sustainable alternatives. These align with general principles of progressive, and yeah, we also saw something similar, and we had good results in South Africa's Section 12L, 95 cents per kilowatt, energy efficiency tax incentive. Estimating, we also, there's a growing sector in the sustainable packaging sector, and innovation-led sectors could support about 70 to 120 youth-led SMEs in the subsectors across the country, based on our analysis. And it's pretty much. We would like the council to consider the amendment of 42A7.
Maybe the lady has something to say. See, she's mic is on.
Just to add on that, because we feel that the clause, the 42A subsection 7, it's more, it imposes like a blanket excise duty on the taxation, and we feel like this would affect people that are more like youth innovators who are using, sustainable packaging. Yeah, because now because the bill says it imposes like 25% or 200 kg package, that is. And so this will basically affect some of the youth innovators or entrepreneurs using the KEBS certified biodegradable films. And so amending that to 5% or 50 per kg would really benefit the youth entrepreneurs. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I think this is coming up with a very fantastic topical discussion. My only two questions are: one, the essence of excise taxes, quote unquote, sin tax. Most of it is not only to raise revenue, but to deter what should be avoided, including factors like this that will be affecting our climate, because all the world is geared towards climate mitigation process. So plastic materials was taxed to reduce the usage on it. So I did not establish clearly for these special youth groups enterprises that have been verified. I don't know who is going to verify them, because you used the word that have been vetted. Who is going to vet them? Which organization is going to vet them? So that we don't make laws that are very discriminative, because the law is for all Kenyans, the young and the old. So we should not make laws that are very discriminative. You want to borrow it from Access to Government Procurement Act procedure, which is a good example. I just want to know which kind of materials are these specific that would be friendly to environment, and then what kind of parameters to use to specify on the youth. Thank you so much. For example, you mentioned South Africa. Is it workable in South Africa? Are they put in practice on giving some discriminative way of making laws?
Thank you. I understand where you're coming from, and that's why we saw it fit, because we saw also that the concession may be abused. So to mitigate this eventuality, we've recommended good verification systems. So certification of materials against national standards by KEBS could be mandatory. We could also, verification of enterprise eligibility, youth-owned, used directly as a sustainable packaging by AGPO or an assigned SME authority. And also we could have post-importation audits by the KRA with traceability systems.
Thank you very much, Kenya Youth Climate Advisory Council, for your presentation. We have your written submission here. We shall retreat and consider some of the proposals, and maybe, hopefully, it will find their way to our final proposals to the National Assembly for amendments to the draft Finance Bill 2025. Asanteni sana.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bishop, introduce yourself and yeah.
Thank you very much, honorable members and stakeholders, for this great opportunity whereby the 13th Parliament is having this mandate of this important bill. I'm sorry, I'm having a hoarse voice, but I'm grateful that I came for this public participation. As we all know, last year, October 1, in a newspaper, national newspaper, it said public participation is the way to go for a good governance.
Bishop.
Yes, please.
You see, I ask you to introduce yourself, so it is good to introduce yourself first.
Sir.
Say, I'm so-and-so, I'm a bishop of which church, and then now you can prosecute your matter.
Thank you, sir. I'm Bishop Dr. Jane Mombingede, and they also call me Jane Kinyereria. I'm an affiliate bishop of Bedside Apostolic Church of Kenya International, and I'm the National Women Lab Federation of Indigenous and Christian Churches of Kenya. I'm also the national patron, Mau Mau War Veteran Association, and I'm also one of the directors of Mau Mau MMV Associate CLG, which means Mau Mau Veterans Associate Company Limited by Guarantee. I'm here with some of my people, and they are just at the backyard.
Chair, you may need to have them together here for purpose of record.
They there?
Yeah. And then Chair, Mau Mau, I thought, to me, when I learned Mau Mau when I was in school, I thought they are very old people. Let's come at the front desk. This is your desk, Mau Mau. Come
these are children. These are Mau Mau children post-colonial rights.
Bishop, you should tell
all
him.
Front seats, occupy front seats. You
should tell him you're old in heart.
Of course, looking at the bishop and imagining my thoughts and knowledge I learned.
Even the membership doesn't look like the Mau generation. Well, these are the descendants.
When King Charles came in Kenya in November 2023, he said he agreed talks from our fathers and from the generations, and therefore the one you see around generations of the Mau. Our fathers some of them are very old; they are not able to move, but the generations of the Mau day in day out trying to push over through the presidency, through our government, because everything will go as per the presidential assent. So we are at the mercy of the National Assembly and our government.
So you are the children and the grandchildren of
yes,
the Mau generation?
Yes, please.
Okay.
And we are representing our General Director, who is not with us. He is in Nyanza.
Okay, proceed.
Director James Joguna Mahuria.
Okay, proceed and make your presentation.
Actually, we were given a very short notice last time. We just thought it was just hearing, but I just want to comment on this one thing, that I want to commend the 13th Parliament for the way you are handling things and the way you are dedicated to push ahead this financial bill 2025-2026, because once the bill is passed, I know it shall go on well to touch different institutions in our country. And everything in this country will learn, as you have purposed, light away from the kitchen of the National Assembly once the presidential assent is put. And we shall be grateful as stakeholders and even as children of Mau, because everything will go as you have planned. And all I should say, I just give you a special commendation because of this noble cause. You have taken your time, line by line, precept by precept, step by step. And I believe through your credentials and through your checks and balance of the financial bill, all shall be well to the honor and glory of this great country, Kenya. And we shall all appreciate and pray for you wherever you are as you walk in all your day works as a parliament and as a government. I just want to say thank you very much, because I believe you will not marginalize anyone. Everybody shall be inclusive. That is our prayer. And we believe taxes, we should just call upon our beloved president to check on the issue of high taxes, to level them to favor the common mwananchi and every stakeholder, so that we shall live in a nation that is peaceful, that is good, that is habitable, according to the economical perspectives. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So I take it to mean your proposal is we take care of high taxes.
Yes, please.
On the common mwananchi.
Yes, and economical.
But let me also, maybe as a way of informing Kenyans, that taxes are levied from those who have. And that's why at the beginning of this session, I said, if you look at finance bill and levying of taxes in isolation with the budget, then many Kenyans are bound to lose. Because what we do in taxation is we say those who make money from the country, we get a bit of it, so that we support those who cannot even afford to pay school fees. Yeah? That is why you find the government is saying we will send school fees capitation for day schools, Because we have gotten money from those who are able to make money, then we send the money to the people who are unable to make money. Even in the last finance bill, there were very good intentions to get money from those who have, to employ more teachers, more nurses, to be able to provide services to Kenyans who are, I would say, the hustlers down there, who are unable, you know, sometimes to some people, 12,000 shillings, 12,000 shillings is nothing to some people. But as these members of parliament here, all these members of parliament, we represent people. And sometimes there are people who are unable to pay 12,000 shillings school fees for their children in day school, not even boarding. So sometimes what we do is we say, Bishop is better a bit. Tunachukua 10,000 yake, myself maybe 50,000 on taxes, so that we are able to support the people down there. But unfortunately, sometimes when we are trying to do that, the same people we are trying to support, they are saying we should not tax anybody. So it's a paradox of this republic.
I think it's by
Ingine kabla Bishop hujasema ni kukushukuru kwanza uongozi mwema. Najua kilichokuleta hapa na aswa wazee ambao makuja pamoja nao na kina mama ni ile hali ya kuchali kwamba hii nchi yetu ya Kenya tusirudishe mali tulifikia mwaka uliopita. Na chanzo cha kile kilituleta mali tulifika mwaka uliopita ni ilikuwa msimu kama huu, wakati tulikuwa tunaongelea mswada ya kutunga sheria ya kukusanya ushuru ama ya kuangalia sheria ya ukusanyaji wa ushuru kwa nchi ya Kenya. Na hapo awali chairman alieleza kwamba finance bill si ya kuongeza taxes peke yake. Finance bill pia iko na vipengee ya kuangalia ile sheria ambayo inatumika. Kwa kuwa kando na finance bill ya mwaka huu ipo sheria ambayo inaendelea kukusanya ushuru. Ile tu nimefurahia ni kwamba sisi wote kama Wakenya tusaidiane, tutunge sheria yenye inatupeleka mbele na inatuweka amani tukipitia uongozi wetu. Na mwenyekiti, unakumbuka mwaka jana finance bill ile ilikuwa imetoa pendekezo katika kitabu hiki mmoja inaitwa bill. Hii ikikuwa hivi ijakuwa sheria. And that is why ukisoma katiba kipengee cha 118 ina tushurudisha kama bunge tufanye public participation kama leo. Baada ya hapa hii kamati itaenda ikae chini iandike ripoti kwamba tulikaa chini na wananchi walipendekeza hii, walikubaliana na hii ama walitoa pendekezo tofauti na hii. Kwa ujumla ni kwamba ya muhimu ni kuendesha nchi ya Kenya. Juzi tumeongea budget na mmesikia waziri anakuja wiki ujao bunge kusoma budget yake. Hiyo budget tumeongea vitu mingi, mabarabara, kuna macontractors ambao tuko nao, aswa ile tunaita Mau roads. Hizo contractors ilipeana wakati wa uhuru, bado zinaendelea. Pesa ikikosekana contractor na abandon site. Jukumu la serikali na kupitia bunge kukusanya hiyo pesa imewekwa kwa budget. So ndio tuweze kupata hiyo pesa, tunahitaji sheria ya kupatia KRA uwezo ya kukusanya pesa. Ikisha sanya impatie waziri wa fedha, waziri ya fedha agawie mawizara kama barabara na kama hayo. Ile tu jambo ningependa kudhihirisha mimi kama mjumbe wa taifa la Kenya ni tukue na mawasiliano mema kama haya, kwa kuwa kilicho tupeleka kando ni what we call distortion of information. Sisi wengine wetu hatuko na subra kuangalia baada ya hizo hizi ambao tunafanya leo ni report kani itawasilishwa kule bunge, ni report kani wabunge watajadiliana watumie kupitisha ile sheria. Hii pendekezo inatoka kwa wizara, haitoki kwa bunge, inatoka kwa waziri wa fedha yakiwa amejumulisha mawasia ya mawizara wenzake na baraza la mawaziri. Baadaye ile sheria itatoka kwa bunge, ni ile sasa imejumulishwa na maoni ya wananchi. So ile tu pia nami nitawauliza tutafute njia mwafaka ya kuwasilisha mambo kama haya kwa wananchi so that tuweze kwenda kwa pamoja, because kile kinachoma nje ni what we call propaganda, negative publicity. The moment hiyo imechukua space, imeenda kwa social media, vijana wamechukulia, tuta lose the meaning, wote tutaingia kwa msitu. Mwenye anafikiria anasema ako na ukweli na mwenye ana ukweli. 1:2 imepick negativity, the whole thing tumelose na tuna lose inji. Mnaona last time tuliwacha finance bill, rais alikataa kusign, ikatubidi bunge tufanye supplementary budget. Na hiyo supplementary tulifanya ni kubungusa zile vitu mingi kama wananchi walikuwa nataka maneno ya stima siliondolewa. Kwa kuwa hatuwezi kuwa na budget yenye haina fedha ya kufanya nini? Ya kutosha. Asante chama, ndio najaribu kueleza hiyo.
Asante sana. Tuko na mheshimiwa mmoja ameingia, wacha ajitambulishe alafu tuendelee.
Asante sana mwenyekiti. Kwa majina naitwa Umulker Kasim. Mimi ni wakilishi wa County wa Mandera Women Rep. Mmoja wa hii kamati ya Finance and National Planning.
So Bishop, okay.
Yes, kindly, I just wanted to say we totally support the Parliament. We totally support the public bill because without the bill, the country can be at a standstill. And therefore, as the Mau Maus, we support 99.9% all what our government is doing as we continue submitting unto them 99.9% because it's Godre that everyone, there is no one who is exceptional. Everyone must submit to the president and to the government, for there is no government without which God has instituted. And therefore we believe and pray for a good government through the presidency, His Excellency William Samoei Ruto, that through his guidance this time he will sign the bill so that it shall go to the making and duty deliberations in every institution, and all shall be well in our country. So we support you 99.9%, and we pray for you that all shall be well. And we believe every institution will carry its mandates as instructed. And I also want to say categorically, paying tax, as you have explained, it is biblical. If we don't pay taxes, our country, we shall be in tax, because it is through taxes that the government is able to learn some of its institutions. It was just like that. Thank you very much. May God bless you. May God keep you as you continue deliberating everything to the good of this great nation of Kenya.
Asante sana Bishop, tunashukuru kwa hayo maneno umetuambia. So nataka kurudia tena. Ukiangalia maneno ya finance bill bila kuangalia mapendekezo ya budget ya Kenya, that is where the problem will arise. Because we must get money. The government says we want to employ extra, like now, 20,000, 25,000 teachers. Yeah? So the finance bill will look for money to employ those teachers. And those teachers happen to be these young men here. The young men around here. Are you here? Muko hapa? Yeah? So when we are trying to do things for you, to work for you so that you get employed, then you tell us, I should not pay. In fact, we were taxing ourselves. In the last finance bill, we were taxing ourselves more. As members of parliament, those who have money, 1,500,000, to be able to employ these young men here. But they told us no. Don't tax the rich people. So we lost the plot. So anyway, let us look at the finance bill together, read together with the budget of the Republic of Kenya. When governors say we need additional money, you know, money must come from somewhere.
Yes, please.
Money must come from somewhere. So sometimes people go there and say, we do not want more taxes. Then they say we want more money. So that's a contradiction.
Ni kama chia unasema hii mikono inasema nipe na inauliza hii mkono mwenye anasema ana. Na pia si taxes peke yake. Ulisikia wale waliokuwa hapa pendekezo ya kusema madhara ya sigara, madhara ya pombe, hata sukari. hii chakula kama hii tunakunywa vinywaji kuna sukari mingi, inaanza kuleta madhara ya magonjwa. Inasema tuongeze ushuru ili kupunguza utumiaji. So pia ni kisheria inasaidia kuzuia vitu zingine, so si kukusanya peke yake.
So asante sana Bishop and your team. I think you may take your leave now. Asante sana kina mama na wazee ambao wako hapa. Mtu salamia watu nyumbani. Thank you very much. Asante sana. Asante. So we now open. Sasa tutafungua kikao tuweze kusikiza kila mtu mwenye ako na maoni. Parliament is mandated under Article 95 of the Constitution to do three things. One is representation, legislation, and oversight. Under the same Constitution, I think Article 118. Article 118 says that Parliament must do public participation in their mandate. So whatever we do, we must ask Kenyans, we must get the views of Kenyans on what we are legislating on, what we are oversighting on, what we are representing on. So this is the exercise that we are doing now. We are doing public participation on finance bill. Okay, maybe let me read why we are here. 118, Article 118, 1B. Okay, let me just read the Article 118. And the title of that section of the Constitution is Public Access and Participation. 118.1. Parliament shall A. Conduct its business in an open manner, and sittings and those of its committee shall be open to the public. B. Facilitate public participation and involvement in the legislative and other business of Parliament. So that's why we are here to conduct public participation. And as I said earlier on, it is not a public relations exercise. It's a very serious business. Some of the things we hear from Kenyans here will form part of what we will propose in Parliament, in the National Assembly, to amend the finance bill as currently drafted. And for record again, finance bill is a recommendation to Parliament. It is not yet a law. It is Parliament who will make it a law finally when we pass through the third reading. So let me welcome all of you to this sitting. Kwa sababu ya muda, tapewa nafasi, unaongea jambo moja ama mbili dakika 5, tupatie wengine vile vile tuwasikize. Si namna hiyo? Yeah, so you get 5 minutes each. Sema mambo 2, 3 ile unaona kama ni unapendekeza, tuwapatie Wakenya wengine. So nataka
msonge mbele tu, ndio wengine wakikuja wanakuja huko nyuma. Alafu sasa ile unaongea unaonekana kuna wengine huko nyuma huko, msonge mbele.
Sasa nataka wale maafisa wetu wa Parliament wape microphone. Microphone isunguke. Can I see by show of hands those who want to speak? 1. Nani mwingine anataka kuongea? 2, kuja hapa. Nani mwingine? Je, tuanze na huyu mtu amefaa. Which team is that?
Hii ni timu gani hii?
Manchester City. Kama Barcelona.
Which team is that?
Manchester City.
Manchester City.
Yeah.
Wacha tuanze na Manchester City.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I'm a Kenyan. My name is Clive Ayuko. And I have a certain interest in this particular bill by Honorable John Badi, the Virtual Assets and Cryptocurrency Exchange Bill. First of all, I want to put down some very simple ideas which the bill may not...
Just a bit. I'll thank you for reminding me. Actually, we are doing public participation for two bills. Finance bill and virtual asset service providers bill. So we are doing them on both of them. So thank you for reminding me. Proceed.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. First of all, I'd want to address the issue of energy. These cryptocurrencies, they use a lot of energy. Using your phone to just search on your phone on ChatGPT uses 10 times more energy than just a simple search on Google. These cryptocurrencies have caused a lot of mayhem in the Western countries. There are people who have even attached these particular computers which mine this Bitcoin along national grids, and they have caused power outages. So if certain section of this bill does not address the issue of energy, and if perhaps energy will be needed, perhaps we may need a lot of energy with the enactment of this particular bill. So the issue of energy is very, very important. Perhaps question number 2. There will be need to also establish something similar to the Nairobi Securities Exchange. So maybe we can have a Nairobi cryptocurrency exchange in this particular regard. That is another view that I wanted to express. And perhaps the third thing is hefty fines. Hefty fines for people who want to maybe connect the national grid to mine this particular crypto. Mr. Chair, I don't know if you know, but if you do know, but right now, the value of Bitcoin is around $105,000. And there's something called the Joule's paradox. The value of the crypto is directly correlational to the amount of energy used to mine it. So these are some of the ideas that I wanted to present, and I want to thank you very much for giving us this particular opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen. I think I like your proposal on crypto currencies and energy consumption, and the creation of Nairobi cryptocurrency exchange. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Do you have anywhere else in the world where they have created a cryptocurrency exchange?
Mr. Chair.
Maybe before you respond, I'm keen to understand how we want to link the energy consumption, which causes the worst is power outage, eco blackout. To this particular bill, do you want a mention that any energy used on this particular transaction, you pay with special rates for Kenya Power and Lighting Company to charge higher rates, or what is your proposal? What is your proposal?
My proposal would be that if these mining companies are to be connected to the national grid, just as you mentioned, then a special rate or a special power tariff should be provided to them. There are certain companies which actually mine these particular cryptocurrencies at the moment as we speak, and some of them actually generate this power by themselves. there should be also need to, maybe now that we're talking about sustainable energy and sustainable energy consumption, this is the future. This is the future, and now that we are talking about having a legal framework within this particular cryptocurrency space, my view is the ecosystem will expand. A lot of merchants would come up, a lot of traders, a lot of brokers, a lot of con people will come up in this particular space. So and it's also a very rapidly developing space. Every day there's a new cryptocurrency coming up, like even right now, there could be one which has come up. So having a regulatory framework which is perhaps fluid to capture these emerging changes would be very essential. And Mr. Chair, you mentioned if I have any examples of companies which, or countries which have a cryptocurrency exchange, but what I'd say is, Kenya is a first in many things. If it's an idea that you can see the feasibility of it, and it's an idea that countries can actually come and borrow from our best practice, then I see no need. But I do get your point, and I appreciate the point, sir. But speaking about countries which are actually embracing these cryptocurrencies, there are a number of banks in the Western countries which are actually even buying these cryptocurrencies, which even have a department of the cryptocurrency exchange. I'm thinking there should be a legal framework which actually also perhaps regulates this particular bank. So that is my proposal, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think if you read the bill as drafted, we are setting a foundation for regulation, and if you check it, you will realize that cryptocurrency exchange commission or whatever will actually emerge, because now we have regulated the sector, we are licensing the offerers or the service providers. So I think we are headed to that direction, but as they say, let the business lead, and as in Parliament, as and when it is necessary, we shall rise to the occasion to set up the exchange as and when it is necessary. Thank you. So thank you very much, Chairman. And good.
Perhaps if I can add a final point, sir. There's one particular registration which caused a lot of hullabaloo in our city, Nairobi. I don't know if you watched TV some 2 years back, there was this multitude of youth doing some registration at the KICC on this WorldCoin. This is also a cryptocurrency, but it is a cryptocurrency which is operating not under any particular legislation. We also read about a report by Office of the Data Commissioner, which wanted or ordered this particular WorldCoin to actually delete the data of all Kenyans. Now, I don't know what specific data this was, but this is a company which is clearly operating within the country without any perhaps legal framework. So if this particular law can also rope in this particular company, and it has grown. WorldCoin is no longer just a coin, it's an ecosystem. There are banking institutions there, there are casinos, virtual casinos inside there, there are money transfer systems inside. So the law should also address these particular companies which are operating right now and which perhaps have Kenya's data. And I wouldn't know if indeed the data commissioner actually did follow up and actually delete this particular data as ordered by the High Court. These are my submissions, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think For your information, I think we had a presentation by one of the presenters. And what they told us is that we increased the number of regulators because as the bill is proposing, it gives a regulatory authority to Central Bank of Kenya and the Capital Markets Authority. But we had, there's a lady who came here and gave us very nice proposals on that we need to extend the regulatory powers to Data Commissioner, to, I think, Communication Authority of Kenya, and other regulatory bodies in Kenya. So I think your recommendation is already, we are already says of the matter, and we will likely consider those proposals. Let me hear your views. I was seated somewhere in this city, and somebody was moving around telling people, I can give you cash for bonga points. And I thought, then this bill came to my mind, that so bonga points can give you cash. So the person was moving every table. I am, how much bonga points do you have? And the person was actually paying. And then when you look at, when I look at those who are paid, I don't want to say whether I was paid or not, but when you look at those who are paid, it's not actually Safaricom paying. It's another company. So I thought, is there anything we don't know that we should know about these virtual assets and specifically bonga points? Do you have any idea of that?
Mr. Chairman, the bonga reward scheme, I'm thinking it's a customer loyalty scheme. It's something which is meant to hook you to that particular company, hook you to that particular mobile service provider. As you know, you can buy a loaf of bread using that particular bonga points at the supermarket. I don't know about any other mobile service provider which actually has a better scheme than the bonga reward scheme. With the bonga reward scheme, you can do a lot of things. You can buy a phone, you can do shopping, you can even perhaps pay for your transport for companies or bus companies which have the service. But then again, can you really quantify the value of one bonga point? I'm thinking now that's where the challenge would be. So if you are to link it to some monetary value, I'm thinking this is something maybe experts and maybe price fixers can actually give a more comprehensive answer on the same. So in terms of bonga points, it is something which is developed by companies, and I'm thinking the company is also regulated within certain laws which govern company policy or company registration. So I'm thinking that should be covered. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Asante Sana, for that very insightful presentation on virtual assets service providers bill. We will look into your issues and see how we can take them on board in our final report. Asante Sana. Thank you. The other gentleman, introduce yourself and make your presentation in 5 minutes.
Thanks a lot. My name is Nick, and I'm a SME. So my concern is you need to take into consideration about the taxation of the agro processing, whereby we need to encourage farmers, even consume our simple machines from the polytechnic, from the university, so that we can add the value and we can export them. Because right now, most of the agricultural product, we just export them all. And you see, by so doing, we can even increase the labor here, we can make the youth be active. And also, when you encourage them, I think we can even reduce the pressure on our sharing. Because when we keep on importing even the breads, we are importing bangers, we are importing that. I think those are the things we can. We are 50 years old now, and most of the things we should not be importing now. Yeah. So another concern is you encourage youth to join maybe farming. So because most of the youth, for example, most of the farmers, they are old people and using their own technology. So you look for a way you can give them loan, and also maybe you treat them well so that they can be busy in farming. Because we are food secure from maize, like we are importing almost everything, even rice, and also we needed to coordinate with universities so that we can use the technologies we have to use the modern technology. Yeah, that is my concern.
Thank you very much. I'll come to you. Thank you very much. Our Secretariat, take notes. How do you use taxation to ensure that we modernize our farming through technology?
Yes.
How do you encourage our youth to go to farming?
Yeah.
And
Export.
value addition and export.
Yeah.
And how do we use taxation to reduce importation of items that we can actually produce?
Yes.
So those are very important points which we need to take on board.
Yeah.
And our young men here, if we are here, farming is very good.
Yeah, it's very good.
It's very good. Those of us who come from, where do you come from?
I come from Meru.
Come from Meru?
Yeah.
So if you come from Meru, you do coffee.
Yeah,
if you do 2
there.
acres of coffee, you easily make 1 million, 2 million.
Yeah.
Per year, which is like somebody employed to earn 200,000 per month.
Yes.
So you are already a serious officer in government.
Yeah,
You
and I can give you an insight.
Yes.
You see, a machine is not must be something which is not living. A cow, you can take it as a machine because it just consume fodder and it produce a very valuable thing like milk. So I think we also need to change our mindset. A machine should not be just something which is not living. So if we think in that direction, I think we can even invest most of the people to do dairy farming. Because if the demand is increasing, and even I think we cannot satisfy the demand even outside Kenya. Okay, thanks.
I agree with you 100%. I am also an aspiring farmer.
Yeah.
So I am with you on that. We need to encourage Kenyans to produce plant avocado, coffee, tea, fruits, machungwa, nini, all those things, pineapples. The market is there, the money is there. So let's not wait for formal employment only, our young men and women. So I like your ideas. So what do you farm?
On avocado, and I'm also doing the dairy cattle, and I wanted to keep on improving because now some of the breed they are very expensive, but that is why I'm saying about the breed. You can consider when we import maybe when you consider the best breed, which I think in Israel there are some which can even produce 60 liters per day, and you see they are almost consuming the same amount of water. But when you look at the one we have here, they are producing 20 liters. So I think that is what I'm saying. You consider linking between the higher learning institution, about the taxation, about even importing those semen and so on, so that it can be easier for us to acquire the best practice, the best breed from the other countries.
Thank you very, very much for sharing with us. Yeah. And I think you have made great sacrifices from Meru to make this presentation.
Yeah.
I think you are a very patriotic Kenyan.
Okay.
Asante sana.
Nyaga.
Say your name again. Say your name again.
I'm Mr. Nick Nyaga.
Mr. Nick Nyaga.
Yeah.
From which sub-county of Meru?
I'm from Meru Central.
Meru Central.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Asante sana. Asante sana na safiri salama.
Chairman, allow me to also congratulate Nick for the good job that he's doing, and also encouraging that farming is the way to go.
Yeah.
I come from Asal counties.
Yeah.
And we actually depend on the food that you guys produce.
Yeah.
So that we consume. We are actually your biggest consumers.
Yeah.
So, endeleni na hiyo kazi nzuri.
Okay.
Na fanya civic education kidogo kwa vijana.
Yeah.
Kama Mungu amewabariki na ardhi iko na that is fertile.
Yeah.
Then why leave it unused?
Yeah.
Encourage, na sisi pia tutaona ile kitu tutaweza kupanda.
Yeah.
Mungu akitujalia.
Yeah, okay.
Lakini
Actually one point.
Kwa sasa nyinyi ndio sasa are the bread basket of this country.
Yeah. Actually one point is about the water harvesting. Even we can consider it here, even the urban areas, because once it rains, even after 1 month, people start buying water. And you see now that water, even this building, you need to think on how you can be harvesting water and store it. And also we do maybe drip irrigation, and also we minimize the shortage of water during the dry season. So about the drip irrigation, harvesting water even in urban areas, even treating water. There is a simple course which is at the Capeta Polytechnic, about whereby you can filter water, and it is not very expensive. And so I think we can do even mean water harvesting as a village, and then we store it, and then you do drip irrigation, because we need to change from the overhand irrigation to the drip irrigation. Yeah, okay, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Nyaga. You have very nice ideas. Siku nyingine tukipata nafasi tutakutana tena.
Asante.
Sabiri salama. Na karibu tena. The other gentleman, introduce yourself. Na hapa unaweza ongea Kiswahili ama Kiingereza. So don't struggle kama lugha nyingine ni ngumu, tumia Kiswahili ama Kiingereza. On special occasions I can give if you are completely unable to speak either of the two, I can give mother tongue on special occasions with interpretations. Proceed.
Okay, is it morning or good afternoon? All right. So my name is Festus. I'm from Global Conflict Disaster Management. And I would like to say that the reason as to why the government would come to the citizens is one of the major reasons is that the citizens also can help the government to manage its affairs well, or to inform the government on leadership. Because actually we are the people on the ground. We are the people who live with the citizens, and we're watching what's happening. I would like to say that in Kenya today, if we cannot learn from history, like what the Gen Z did and the reasons as to why they attacked the government, we may also repeat the same mistake. And this is what I want to say. President Uhuru once said that the youth of Kenya is like a time bomb, just waiting to explode. And actually, government should do something about it. So what do we observe? Number one, there is population explosion. Many people are now being born, and you see, like, walk on the streets of Nairobi, or like on Sunday, you see very many young people near Parliament Road at Holy Family Basilica. And then there's also migration. Very many young people actually living in the rural areas. My brother is talking about farming. Those young people, they don't want farming. Why are they coming to big cities? So what the government should do is actually, how do we absorb these youth? Because the government actually cannot give jobs to them. We cannot all be seated in front there. My opinion is that we need to incentivize many of the outlets that young people get into. Even gambling outlets, let them increase. Let us allow them to sell cigarettes, to engage in social media activities like selling on TikTok, on YouTube. And then another thing, the problem is not really taxation. We can have taxation as long as the outlets that absorb these young people are running. And if they are not infringing on laws of the government. And then secondly, we should also reduce police conflict with many of these outlets. Like if you walk on the streets, the police would come with the Land Cruiser and they enter into the gambling outlet and they arrest all the young people there when they are doing their thing. These conflicts are actually what's making the young people to attack the government. Somebody said that an idle mind is a workshop of the devil. I think government should allow these young people to engage in these activities. The third point I wanted to say is that Kenya, we should accept the reality that we are not a developed country. We are not like America or even France or Germany. We should allow these other businesses to continue along with the normal businesses. So what we should do is, as long as we tax them and we give them a good political environment, let the government tell the police to protect these businesses. We should even tell City Hall to protect many of the young people who are on the streets who are doing their business. If the young people are in good relationship with the government, they will not attack the government, and the government will do its activities very well. So actually the problem is not even taxation. The problem has always been conflict with the police, conflict with the local government, people taking bribes from time to time, all right? Closing down their businesses. So I think as you continue doing the legislation, it is important actually to consider my opinion. The problem actually is not taxation. You can tax people as much as you can, but if you give them a good business environment and allow them to continue with their businesses, it's okay.
Thank you. I think you have made a good point on ease of doing business for our young men. How do we engage our young men? How do you encourage them to do business? And you have told us also it's not an issue of taxation, it is an issue of how we actually give them the business opportunities to be able to be busy and make income for themselves and contribute to our country. I think you have made a very good point on the issue of conflicts. So now, are you saying the last Gen Z protest in last year, are you saying it was not about taxation? Because you have said it's not about taxation, it's about engagement.
The Gen Z...
Maybe so that you respond, you can just take note, you will respond on that. You've said we allow all businesses to take place. Na hiyo biashara zingine, but because you are on record and you see this is unanswered, I would wish you clarify what type of hizo biashara zingine siendelee, because so that we don't use this parliament to sanitize everything. Well, you may have meant good that we allow all levels of businesses to take place, but mzuri ueleze, because pia ujue serikali iko na jukumu ya kuhakikisha imelinda nchi dhidi ya bidhaa ambazo hazistahili kiafya ama sina kando na kudhuru, pengine zinaharibu kama bidhaa kama za vilevi ambazo hazistahili, madawa ya kulevya. Pia kuna mabiashara zingine kama ya kuuza wanadamu, umeelewa, ama zile mnaitanga asali ya jioni ile, umeelewa. So ni mzuri kueleza limits yenye ulikuwa unamaanisha. Pia mingi unavyosema conflict, najua mingi inagusa serikali kanjo hiyo ya hawkers. Ungetaka kuona nchi inakaaje katika order? Kukue kila street, sema kwa bunge, hapo nje kwa bunge, tukue na wanabiashara wako hapo wanauza hapo majuzi wao hapo, mbunge akitoka naye akiona t-shirt ya Arsenal, kama mimi ni mfuasi wa Arsenal, ninunue yangu hapo, nimepromote, nimeenda. Do you mean that which order would you want to be in place? Because pia serikali kuna jukumu ya kuweka order in business order, social order, other na mipango sa town planning. Asante.
Yeah,
all right.
I think Mheshimiwa said that yes, we want the youth to be involved in business activities, but the business of government is to ensure law and order, to protect everybody. Yeah? Even the ones who sell in the streets. If it were me or you, yes, we could allow. But there are also those people who are paying rent. Yeah? Who are paying rent and paying rates and paying everything, who also needs to be protected by the same government. So it has to be a balance between law and order, opportunities. Of course, rights have limits. Yeah, rights have limits. So I agree with you, we need to give our youth, and by the way, the young men here, sisi kama bunge tumetengeneza sheria ya Public Procurement and Disposal Act 2015. And of course, it has undergone a lot of amendments. And we have created a preferential treatment and a percentage that must go to youths in every government parastatal. We have actually said all youths of the Republic of Kenya and women and, the vulnerable groups, we have said they must be given 30% by law. So the other remaining things now is, opportunities don't look for people. It is people who look for opportunities and businesses. So I think the youth of this republic should take advantage of that law. We have even, I think there is a law that, I don't know whether we have passed or not, where we have said for tenders of a certain amount, I think we said 1 billion. Is it 1 billion? It's already in Senate. We have said tenders of $1 billion and below should only be available to Kenyans, so that we don't see other nationals coming to compete for a job for 200 million, 300 million. We want to see opportunities given to Kenyans. So I think our young men and women, you must search for the opportunities, because opportunities don't look for anyone. You must look for them and engage in those tenders. So you can respond to what Mheshimiwa said.
Okay, I want to respond to three aspects. Number one, about the conflict between law enforcers and the people who are actually doing business on streets. Actually, we know that the role of the police is to ensure law and order, and everybody wants to live in an orderly society. But at the same time, everybody wants to survive. For me, I think because we cannot sell everywhere, for the hawkers, they cannot sell near Parliament. It's not good for the country. Near churches, it's not good for the country. But I think they should be given hours. For example, evening, like maybe from 7 to around 9 p.m. in the evening, they can do their business, and they close down, and that is very good. If they're given that time, is good. Because actually, you see, these mothers, they have children to pay school fees for, they want to pay rent. And we see the kanjo, they come and they take everything they have. And some of them are dragged into courts, and their property seized. And actually, people are watching. And people are watching, and the young people, they become disgruntled when these things are happening, because they keep record. And so they wait for an opportunity, and when the opportunity comes, they explode, because they begin to remember the things that the government is actually doing. So I think in as much as we do the law enforcement, the government should become very clear what hours are the hawkers supposed to be selling, and where are they supposed to be selling. Because for sure I can tell you that there is no way you can remove hawkers from our towns, no way. It's just 100% impossible, they must be there. And then about this business of biashara that the young people are doing, well, we want actually to shift the mindsets of young people from just sleeping at Jivanji or waiting for an opportunity to riot, and even to attack the government, to attack government emblems. How can we push them aside from that? Most of them are in gambling. Some of them are selling these cigarettes. Some of them are selling alcohol. But there are some products actually the government does not allow. For example, you are not allowed to sell marijuana. You are not allowed to sell cocaine or heroin. But cigarettes are allowed. Some liquids and some spirits are also allowed. Let the government allow the young people to engage in these businesses. And they should also even regulate what hours are they supposed to be selling and where are they supposed to be selling these products. And they should be licensed. And then secondly, when these businesses are going on, I want to say that let's just talk the reality, because we are all human beings. Our young girls cannot find jobs, and they tell people that we are coming to Nairobi as maids, as secretaries, but almost 70% of them are in prostitution, and they are being arrested by Kanjo, and they are being taxed. How can we stop this? We need to have legislations on that as well, just to avoid conflicts. These are the biasharas that are actually happening, and the government needs to be aware. Because, as I said, we cannot all be seated where you are. There are some people who are not privileged, but they need to survive. And then the third aspect you talked about, the reason as to why the Gen Z attacked the government, partly is because of the high taxation, but the major reason as to why there was a Gen Z revolution is that there's actually public awareness that the country is very much corrupt. That is, in as much as you tax the citizens, the taxes are not doing the work they're supposed to do. People are observing what's happening in the government. They are looking at the past regimes. I think that there was a lot of development in the past regimes, but in this regime, people are being taxed, but there is no development. They are not seeing the roads. They are not seeing like the superhighways. You know, they are not seeing the trains expanding and all this. So that actually was the major reason as to why the Gen Z revolution took place. But if the Gen Z can actually, if the government can come up with projects like roads will absorb the young people in Mjengo. All those projects, if the young people are absorbed, actually, there will be no room for them to come and attack the government because they'll be engaged. Like we had the Kazi Mashinani, Kazi Mutani during the time of Uhuru. In the evening, somebody knew he had something in the pocket. But now those things are not there. And the people are thinking of ways. So if they just find a loophole.
Thank you. At least you made your point
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think you made your point, and I really want to appreciate voicing out what are the feelings of the people. You've spoken on behalf of many. We want to encourage and appreciate that. And it looks like you're giving a point that governments, especially those in governance, should reorganize their approach. We must also appreciate that as a country, Kenya, we've come a longer way in trying to address these sensitive issues. Look at Public Procurement Act and as a disposal of 2015 and its amendments, it has created the issue of ACPO, access to government procurements for special group, women, youth, and people living with disability, which has alleviated the conditionalities required by the law for them, like pre-qualification and all that. What we also need to be encouraging our youth is to participate. And each and every procuring entity, be it county and national government, have been required by law to structure their procurement plan to accommodate the same. Business innovations, they are there. I saw there that the Ministry of Cooperatives, they are running a program called Nyota, trying to appreciate youth with good ideas and innovations and giving them, jump-starting them with a capital of 50,000. So we need to encourage our youth on that. And I agree also on the issue of government expenditure need to be visible. I saw the other day in Mukuru Kwanjenga, many youth were interviewed, those who participated in building those houses, and are very excited. So what we need to encourage is let them do such SPA programs that be able to engage. I agree with you, the issue of corruption is becoming a menace, and we have to speak about this one without hiding. And corruption is all over, from the budget and non-budget elements. Like what you are saying, extortion is a very witty way of corruption that is killing morale of our people. Where we employ these young people, they become kanjo askaris. In the evening, they're extorting their mothers and their women, destroying their small merchants. If you want to start any business, the requirements that are required with a lot of extortion is becoming also something we have to speak about it. And I agree with you. As members of parliament, we must also agree that we have a problem in our governance structures, and this is what Kenyans are asking for. So we will be calling upon those in executive in the two levels of government to exercise their work in an open, transparent, and in a manner that is seen to promote the asset of Kenyans. So thank you so much. Lastly, as you are going, I also wish to invite you, like earlier chairman was inviting, that as we are looking at these particular proposals, let us also look at in line together with our budget. What is the behavior of our budget? What is the muscles, the opportunities for us to multiply our development? We need to look at the issues of debt, funding or financing that is taking almost 1.3 trillion of our budget. Again, it's by law, the Kenyan government has to pay. So we need to encourage ourselves that let us look at the expenditure side, let us look at the revenue side, and look at what expenditure is trying to address. Thank you so much. I think it's time now we need to allow another person who is there. Nani mwingine angetaka kuchangia? Kuja hapa mbele. Wewe ulikuwa umeongea, tafadhali tusirudie, tupatie nafasi mtu mwingine kwanza. Nani mwingine yupo mahali pale? Na sijaona, nimesikia sauti ya warembo kweli. Najua kuna hii ema imezuia watu wengine kule nyuma. Nani mwingine pia ako na pendekezo lake? Leo ni siku ni open. Yeyote aliye na pendekezo, tafadhali unaweza songea kwa hii microphone ama unaweza letea microphone mahali huko. Kuna mwingine, tusisuie mtu nje. Leo ni siku yenu. Kila Mkenya aweze kujieleza. Na wengi karibu songa mbele. Na pia mlikuwa mmeulizwa kama umeandika arafa na umepeana, umewasilisha, kuna ile barcode uliona imewekwa mahali hapo. Ile barcode ukienda mahali pale uimulike, itakueleza jinsi ya kusubmit your representation. Please welcome beautiful lady at the stage. Introduce yourself, how you identify yourself, whether as an individual or as a specific organization, for record purpose, and then proceed to submit.
Okay. Hello, my name is Asha Melanie. I'm from Glamour Space, Nairobi. And Glamour Space, Nairobi. Yeah, I have an issue with this specific section. It's called Significant Economic Presence Tax. I don't even know to close, but I know, okay. And section 30 VAT on digital tax. I feel like it's double taxing people in the digital economy. Like we're already paying VAT, and now this is another additional 20%. So, like, I feel like it's going to be
Proceed, it is clause 6 in our bill. Yes, proceed.
Yeah, I feel like it will be like a double taxation, because since we're already paying VAT, I'm sure they're going to tell us to now pay that extra 20%. So it will be like a really huge burden on people who sell things online, be it services or even goods. So is there a way it can be either delayed or just scrapped off?
That's all you want, okay.
That's all.
All right,
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think that when you are talking in relation to Income Tax Act, not VAT,
No, but we're still charged VAT.
Yes, I'm
separately.
trying to respond
and now
to
that
you.
one is on another additional cost.
That is section 12. Not VAT, this income tax, section 12. Thank you. This bill trying to introduce additional amendment to section 12 of the Income Tax Act, Cap 470, which entirely that provision is focusing on what we call non-residence taxation. This is digital taxes, isn't it, Lorot? Yes. That people who are engaged on service provision using digital platform, like yes. So, significant economic tax provision that says that any non-resident, it is about non-resident. When you talk of non-resident, these are not Kenyans. A resident person is a person who is within the country for the last 12 months year of income. Most of these platforms like Uber, because they were here, like Bold, like Jumia, these are foreign companies that offer services through digital platform. Value-added tax is what we call consumption tax. But once they have derived their income in the country, remember they are non-residents, they will derive income from Kenya, they will take the benefit to their country of origin. A Kenyan will be required to pay what we call income tax on the earnings. If it is salaried person, pay as you earn. If it is business, you pay income tax. For company, corporate tax. For normal business, you pay through the scale like the one pay as you earn. For non-residents, they will not be subjected to that particular income tax provision, but rather now, they will be subjected to non-resident provision. So for digital, if you are a Kenyan and you are running a business on digital, you will be filing your returns as any other business, and you will be paying income tax normally. So this one has nothing to do with VAT, but rather it's saying before you recoup your money and take to the country of origin, you leave certain percentage to the country where you generated. That is Kenyan economy. Thank you.
So they're not going to, what do you call that?
It is for non-residents, not for you.
So yes. It's like the way I pay the income tax, them they're paying it now.
Yes, they are paying through this particular withholdings, yes.
Are you sure they won't start?
No, it is non-residents. The law talks of non-residents. Yes. For you as a resident, ukifanya biashara yako, mwisho wa mwaka, una file returns yako.
So they won't be like a loophole of them trying to add that tax to
As in, that person came to Kenya to invest. So when you invest, what is the objective of investing? So to make profit. So when you make profit, the law says you give government 30%. That is for any other business here.
Yeah.
But because it's a non-resident, a foreign company, before you take your money, the law mandates you to leave certain percentage. And if you are doing volumes of 5 million and above, not 5 million and below.
$5 or
5 million Kenya shillings. Talks of Kenyan shillings.
Session Chair, this particular provision changed, is actually trying to change the digital service tax that was being charged to the non-residents.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I just wanted that clarification.
Yeah, so it has nothing to do with you as a Kenyan. You see now, when you order Uber, you order Bolt, you pay.
So
that person will take commission. That commission is an income to him. So at the end of the period, within that commission that he's taking out, the law will ask him not to take the entire commission, leave some percentage for Kenya.
That's what I was asking. Like, for example, if you're paying for ads, they already charge us now that VAT. They won't charge us another tax on top of that. For that person. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Beautiful. Please welcome forward. If we take short time like that, I'm sure almost all of us will have a moment to say something, isn't it? You introduce your name, where you come from, for record purpose, and then proceed.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chair, and members of the Parliamentary Committee. My name is Leonard Kahuthu, I'm a Kenyan and a resident of Kiambu County. As I don't have so much to talk about in regard to the bill, but because I've tried to peruse and gone through various sections of this Cap 470, but I think I'll do it in what I may say an entirety, in a wholesale way, in regard to my presentations and comment. So I've seen the various exemptions and, the various amendments and all that, whereby I feel you've really done quite a very good job. Nevertheless, because you are the people responsible for registrations, because as one of your mandate is to legislate, then when it comes to execution, it's actually now the ministry responsible. So my simple request is, when possibly, if you want maybe to, to deal with the issue of the youth, we've witnessed various revolts and dissatisfaction. I try to feel majority of these people, they are doing it not actually out of frustrations, because the reality is, when it comes to a budget, the amount that we generate in regard to the expenditure is not quite enough, because we have a very, very bloated government. Now there are very various tentacles or portions of the government that are regularly consuming this minimum amount that we are generating. So the option arises now to come up with what I may call a drastically way to address what I may say these desperate, I need to come up with the drastic measures to address a very, what I may say, a very frustrating issue. Let me give a very good scenario. If you want to run a tour company, let me say like maybe someone want to start a tour organizations, there are various certifications that you require from various bodies. You don't have one single certification, whereby you require various to be mandated by various organizations. You need to register with maybe the local government, the county government. There's also the various bodies responsible. So if you try to lessen those kind of areas, whereby let me give you a very good example. I want to be transporting tourists from Rwanda to Kenya. There are various, legal hurdles there, and various certifications that I require, rather than just one. A very simple trade certification that make the whole thing easier. So that one becomes a challenge. Then the issue of also this youth unemployment. The only way to arrest this is to do what we call urban to rural migration. Never much you talk of agriculture, unless it's made profitable. I've tried to come up with incentives and to try and to make it attractive to these young people. Unless it portrays, there's, it's really giving them some income. I use a very simple language. We'll all be doing what I may say a null and void affair. Then what's the way forward? We can do what we call, there's what we call manufacturing. I intend to uplift the manufacturing industries, because there are various local industry that we can come up with that are actually more profitable there at the rural levels. We come up with a way we can organize these youth, and possibly we come up with those cottage industries that are they offer some kind of employment. That we curb this rural to urban migration, because their livelihoods there that are actually rewarding. Secondly, there are also some kind of cash crops here in this country. I don't know whether it's possible in regard to registrations. Something like cocoa. I've done my own personal research and I've realized cocoa is actually a very, very profitable plant. And actually, here in Kenya, by the further Africa, mostly in tropics, and here, if it's growing in Accra, that we almost have a similar kind of ecosystem, why not in Kenya? I mean, why? Because we have a lot of it that we normally use it in value addition, like manufacture chocolates and all. Why don't you introduce the same in Kenya here? Because cocoa, even monetary-wise, just like coffee, it's actually very, very much rewarding. I mean, it's very much rewarding. Then the truth is, because of this bloated, government, so it means the expenditure is actually very, very high. Now, my take is also this idea of privatization. I think we need also to do what we call very serious awareness, and we do what we may say to try and enlighten the public, to show them the benefit of this privatization, because I don't see the sense why you should maintain a corporate or a government entity that's been making a continuous loss for the last 10 years. I mean, the only option is to wide it up, and if possible, not to do what we call a privatization. May not do it 100% as such, but why not it maybe to do it in terms of public-private partnership. I mean, you privatize it, but not entirely. I think that will curb this idea of wastage, because to be sincere enough, areas whereby this privatization, we always registering some kind of profits. Can you give a very good example? When it comes the communication areas, like already you have the Safaricom. This kind of privatization, the partnership between now the Vodacom and the government, we've seen what Safaricom has done for the last almost 20 years. I mean, why can't it also be done maybe to the other parastatals that have been making a continuous losses in terms of they're always getting appropriations from the parliament? Now, there's no value addition or benefit.
Your time is almost.
So maybe that's one of my concerns. And then, as I've said, we may try to make the rural areas, the so-called the counties, we try to empower them economically, so that we curb this rural to urban migration. Because at the end of the day, we expect if that one doesn't happen, youth will always troop into towns, because that's only whereby there is livelihood. So let's come up with the registrations in regard to that. And then there's one issue also in terms of this digital content monetization. And it also, the government also need to relax some of these, you need to come up with some friendly laws whereby we try to relax, more so when it comes to, in case you need to do some registration, to register maybe some of these digital content providers, whereby we don't need to be so stringent, so that they can channel, there can be avenues also for creativity and source of income, also for these young people. However much we may try to demonize them, they are trying to abuse it. It's only a matter of registration to make sure that they're utilizing it in a very, very positive way. Otherwise, I try to feel also those avenues whereby there's a lot of job opportunities.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you again. I think you made a very fundamental Relax, and you switch off your microphone. Thank you. You made a very fundamental presentation, which is good to note. It's gone on record, and I think what you're telling Kenyans, it's time we need to reevaluate our assets, whether we have valid assets that is holding our money. If you look at our budget, you'll never miss budget lines for some corporations that give very little, contribute very little to our country, or they keep making perennial losses, and the real benefit out of it is not visible, that we need to discuss as Kenyans. Remember, this asset for all of us as Kenyans, so that we can engage on privatization or restructuring, onboarding private investors on it, so that they can generate employment, they can cut down on demand for exchequer and reduce our budget downwards, so that we can release the budget for critical areas that we need. So I think that's something that we have noted. It is on record. We should encourage discussions. The issue of youth, again, you put it well, and I think we picked on it. What we are looking for is to see incentives. And I think very vital issue you say it is, how can we reverse back the migration? Somebody was saying there is rural-urban migration. So we need now to return back urban, rural migration. I think that is a very wonderful view that you've given us, and we will take it into consideration. Thank you so much, and have a fruitful day. Unless, I am sure for us members, they have stepped out a little bit, they are coming. Anybody else, please, as we had given a notice, this is a day for every person who has comment on this particular finance bill. Though listening, most of you are raising concerns on the entire budget outlook, would still be requesting anyone with some issues to do with the bill, because soon the bill will be in the floor of the House, and they want to stick to the provisions of the Constitution that Kenyan views have to be captured. Anyone else, please? Anyone else, before we consider it, we have captured your views. I know today being Saturday, people have a lot of commitments that they want to engage, and we don't want to tie you here. Thank you, please. Welcome. Anybody else there? Let me see by the show of hands. If you have anything that you want to, please come forward here. May I say, anyone who feels you have to contribute anything, please sit in this front seat and attach yourself to where there's a microphone. Anyone else, please, so that we don't keep asking, kama kuna mtu wako. I've seen now 2 people. And as you're doing your contributions, try as much as possible to pass your point. Don't overstress on that, so that we save on time. So can I assume these are the last people? Audience in this room, can I assume these are the last people to present? You want a supplementary? Come here, where you are some. But you will come last, you will be patient for the others. So can we collectively assume the only people with concerns are the only 3 here, so that by the end they complete, we close up the meeting? Tukubaliana namna hiyo? Wananchi watukufu, tukubaliana namna hiyo? So that nikimaliza nisiendelee kuuliza tena kama iwapo kuna mtu mwingine na tusikufungie nje. So kwa hivyo sasa nitamruhusu our beautiful lady, again as I said, introduce your full names, and by a large an extension where you come from, because you are on record, then go straight to the issue you are raising, and try to minimize overstressing the same point. You are allowed to put it, to package it well, but do not overstress, and then if possible, do not repeat what it has been said earlier. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am Lilian Mutinda from Kiambu County, and my comments are on the public participation exercise itself and not so much the bill. So I'd first start by commending the committee. At least for this year, we've seen a really great improvement in how participation has been conducted. We appreciate that you went to an extent of even providing a form for submissions online. But my concern as regards to that is the time frame that we've had for participation. So for one, the notice to submit memo was opened on the 13th, with the deadline for that on the 27th. And for that, that gives you 2-week period notice for submissions. And for a lot of us who are not technical people, it has really been a challenge reading the bill, understanding it, trying to research around it, and make our submission in time. And even making that submission in itself is difficult, because how do you write a memo? What is a memo? How does it look like? So for a lot of us young people, that has been a challenge in itself. Yes, we usually have that structure table with the clause and your justification or reasons or recommendations. But for a lot of us, and it has also happened here, we can't even tell what a clause is. So for you to even make recommendations, you have to first know what a clause is. And secondly is for the feedback form that was put out on the 22nd when the committee was commencing on the stakeholder meetings. And that was put out on the 22nd and was closed by, I think, 28th. Yeah, 28th. And that was less than a week. And by the time it was closing, a lot of people were still asking for the link. So I don't know if that is something the committee would consider, maybe extending the link. Because as we've seen today, a lot of people have not shown up. But some, perhaps they would still want to participate. And given that the hearings are going on until the 6th, maybe we can ask the committee to extend that period. And then while on the form, again, the form itself was, again, quite difficult, because it just has, yes, it's a simplified form of participation, but when you get to the 7 pages of the form, in the complete form, it lists the clauses. It'll outline the clause, I support or do not support, and then the justification part. So if you've not encountered the explainer that was put out by, again, congratulations on that, because at least it made things a bit easier, but still you needed an explainer for the explainer. So if maybe in future we can have something even far more simplified for the common mwananchi. The language of the bill is quite technical, and for us to even understand, we're making, the young lady who presented before, not having understand the amendment that was being made. So to maybe avoid such things, we can have simplified versions of the bill that use the simplest of language. Ile kizungu yenye hata Kiswahili yenye tunaelewa. We saw the bill that was seeking to amend the constitution to entrench CDF, the GAF, and the Senate Oversight Fund. It even had a Swahili version. So can we have the same for the finance bill going forward? And I like it that you say we need to read the bill, the finance bill, together with the budget. But again, you go look at the budget documents, the outlook, you have almost hundreds of pages to go through, and sometimes for a lot of us, we don't understand. And when we don't understand, it creates a gap there's a gap in knowledge, and that's why you'll have perhaps, if you look online right now, the trending tweet is reject finance bill, because there's been a huge gap in knowledge. So if we can make this entire process far more simpler, let's jump in, collaborate with other people who've made this process simpler. So I think that's my remarks towards the bill. And again, if the committee would consider extending the period on the form, it would be great. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. I think that's a good request. We will also endeavor to communicate, but maybe to just put across, the public participation is not yet closed. We still have 1 more week to go. But what will be happening now, we will be visiting selected counties. There are around 10 counties that we will be giving an opportunity to the members of public from those specific counties to also interact with this one. I'm sure they are now interacting with the document, and also give their views from where they are, so that in the interest of the law, it should have a reflective of the people, not only Nairobi. Unlike before, where we used only to conduct public participation in Nairobi, the Parliament of Kenya has seen it wise that we also move out of Nairobi. And from Tuesday, we will be commencing our public participation. We will be at the county of Migori and county of Busia. On Wednesday, we'll be at the county of Nandi and county of Trans Nzoia. On Thursday, we'll be at county of Kiambu and county of Machakos. Then I think Friday, we will be in Kwale, Mombasa, and Kilifi. So we'll still be encouraging members of public from those particular areas to come. And nobody has stopped you from submitting your documents. We will only see how we can open up that particular link so that you can still proceed to submit your documentation. I've taken note of your concern that we should have a lesser complex explainer in terms of clauses. When the bill is still a bill, it is called clauses. It's clauses at the point it's still a bill in the green beige document like this. But as soon as it is approved and ascended into law, it changes from the color green into a white color, gazette notice, and now from that it turns out to be a section. So whenever you see here, we refer in the act as a section, we refer in the bill as a clause. So I think that's an explainer that I wanted to put, listening from your concern. The other challenge you've said is Kiswahili version. Yeah, while we were doing the laws, in fact, we have a simplified Mwananchi copy when we'll be coming to meet the people down there. We still have a challenge on interpreters of Kiswahili in figures. You see, finance bill saying this particular edges code, those are codes provided by EAC community. I'm sure in future we will be able to have arrived at proper wordings that suits our understanding. But we endeavor to make very simpler, that even when we will be coming to public participation, it will have been simplified more than as it is right now. Yeah, this is for Nairobi. It was focusing on the technical stakeholders, those who are experts who can understand. Lastly, when you see that one, you should be able to reflect the two. The bill proposes what is here, it's amending what is here. So when you are reading for somebody who understands, you must also ensure that you have the document. The goodness is it's available online, so that whatever it's saying, you can reflect on this one, and it can give you an understanding. So thank you so much for your concern and your input on
question, sorry. You said you will have the simplified version for the 9 other locations.
Yeah, with explainers, every clause and explainer, yes.
Will the same be available online for perhaps the other?
We will provide for you.
7 counties.
Before you go, I will attach somebody, one of the clerk, to assist you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So I think that is a concern that I have said. So before you leave, you can talk to, stand up, that young man there. Yeah, you will meet him and he will assist you. Thank you so much. So you can proceed.
Okay, good afternoon, Chair. My name is Koganda Collins, an active citizen and a Kenyan citizen who would want to see the country grow, that is. That is why I'm here. I'm sorry I am late. Mine would not be much, but just an observation that we've seen. That is, and probably when I was coming, I was watching the proceedings on my online, that is. And one thing that I noticed is, correct me if I'm wrong, that the government has lost a war on information. And my major concern is, what is your office or your chair doing to ensure that there's that you've not lost war in information? Because if you go online today, you'd find that there's a lot of reject finance bill. Most of us, or most of the youths, have not read it. And it's just something that someone takes, passes it to, like they retweet, and it goes viral. Some don't actually read the finance bill. So what is in place for you or the office to ensure that you've gained the public trust? Because that's something we all agree that it has been lost on most youths, and we are the majority. So probably you'll explain that. And just as my colleague had said also, try make the bill simpler and mostly online for us who would actually go and read and understand and actually pass the information. I'm active on most of the social medias. So that's a major concern that probably would be fruitful if you consider that you need to win the public trust. As much as we are here, but majority of us believe that it's all gone like you had said. Like whatever public participation we are doing now, it will amount to nothing. But I doubt that if that is the case. So I pray that even as you go back or submit your report back, let that is the president, whoever is in charge, win the public trust. The public trust would ensure that the finance bill sails through. No, I don't believe any single Kenyan citizen or any youth would not want to see the country succeed. So that's my, that is what I wanted to pass through. And again, thank you so much. At least we think this would be, would take precedence, that is in the next bills or next events that require public participation, it would be handled in this way. Initially, we've always known that public participation has never been taken into consideration. Someone just goes, sits down with family members, take their views, and then submit it as a public participation. This should be the norm, and we hope that it's not just to blind our eyes, but it becomes precedence on bills or any other thing that would require the public to give their views. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Collins. Again, it's a point that you're raising concern on the information there. But maybe just to remind ourselves and remind Kenyans, I think there are some factors that are constant. Information, as much as it's out there, sometimes I say it's a choice because some people choose to take the wrong things, and I think the perpetrators of this have analyzed our behavior as Kenya, and they know our area of weakness. Number one, Kenyans doesn't like reading. Give them a document like this huge like this, even you download, and especially with the complex art, this is the standard way of publishing bills and even the act itself. I mean, there's no any other better way other than putting some explainers that we attach to it after analyzing from our hand. But what I need to call on us as Kenyans, let's also be watchful. Let's not be buying anything that is seen to be negative, that has been politicized to suit certain persuasion to the extent we breach or we stop a good cause that is provided by law and by constitution. If you read this constitution, it mandates the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury with a timeline that by 30th April, the Cabinet Secretary should submit, table in Parliament, a proposed expenditure estimate, what we call budget, together with revenue-raising measures, what we call finance bill. Those are the two documents. Then from there now, Parliament begins from May, the process of legislation after first reading and circulating on notice. If you look at the daily papers, it was well circulated, the notice, inviting members of public to read, to download, read, and make comments effective to it. As to organizing public participation like this one, I remember for the last 3 years, we've been undertaking this one. But at least from last year and this year, something we need to commend is that Kenyans have rose to a level now they understand what are these things. Because you would at least excuse last year, it was the first time for Kenyans to discuss what is this thing called public participation. Kenyans have been waiting for the Minister of Finance to just come to Parliament and table his budget. And then Wakenya wanauliza, ni nini mwaziri ameongeza leo? Ni nini see what minister is saying? And whenever he reads, he proposes. Now what we are doing as Parliament is to take into consideration the proposals of the Cabinet Secretary, agree to it or disagree to the limit we have worked together to do public participation. So what I was asking you, Collins, and Kenyans of goodwill, this remains to be our country. We can choose what to do with our country. The power is with us, as per Article 1 of the Constitution. It is us to make the right country. It is us to destroy. I dare say, yes, we could be having some challenges on the governance point of view. And those are the issues we need to pick out of that one and speak about it, to contradict, to criticize or to support what we think it is good. But we should not destroy the fundamentals and the foundation of our country that this constitution has guided the procedure about it. So what I want to ask you, Collins, and youth of Kenya, not only you alone, because I know you represent many of them, please, let's be invited to have more information. Not everybody has goodwill to give the right information. Because what you are saying is that there is a deficit, there is a gap of information. I'm aware, there was a time even the Minister for National Treasury walked in by foot up to Jivanji Garden, John Badi, and engaged public, only for him to realize there was a finance bill. That was around February. There was a finance bill which was being discussed in Jivanji Garden, whereas the law is very clear. The only time finance bill is tabled is by 30th April, is when the Cabinet Secretary submits, and that one now, and upon being undertaken through the procedure of first reading, it becomes a public document for it to be discussed upon. So all they had us, and then there are some people who have taken advantage of our lack of understanding on the law we gave ourselves, the Constitution, and all the subsidiary legislation and the acts of Parliament which are there. So what I want to encourage us is let us always limit ourselves to discussion. I remember last finance bill, wakati tulikuwa tunaandikiwa messages, reject finance bill on this ground. I tried to engage. Somebody was saying, mumeongeza land rates. Land rates are issues to do with county governments. It is not even in national government. And it was not anywhere in any clause. But remember, it became an heated debate. So I want to use this platform to encourage us as Kenyans. Always, if you hear something, try to recheck, to relook at it, analyze it, go about it again before you make it your own, a truthful information. Otherwise, thank you so much. We have concern on this one, that the issue of information is very critical. I'm aware, as you've said, I was informed that now there is a discussion to reject finance bill. I should be also asking why reject. Let us have reasons as to why we need to reject. And as we are saying the same, let's not go back that we had to cut money for development. We had to cut money for roads. Somebody was saying today we have never seen development, but we had to undertake supplementary in the month of July last year to cut down expenditure which had been proposed because there was no availability of money, because finance bill was rejected. Are we together? And I would say, even as you are saying reject, probably we need to evaluate our own expenditure. Thank you so much. I think, Chair, it was a concern from Collins. Thank you so much. The last person. Collins.
Wait a bit. I think Kenya is a democratic country. And in democracy, you never get 100% and you never get 0%. Even you, Collins, today, if you declare to fight for president, I can assure you, you will get some votes. You will get some votes. Whether you will win is another story, but you will not get 0. So in democracy, people must talk. But they say, minority have their say, majority have their way and say. Number 2, when you say reject finance bill, ask us, the thing that Kenya should tell members of parliament is, this clause is bad, reject this one. And that's what we are doing here. And that is, we have even put on papers, circulation, tell Kenyans, if you have an issue in any clause, send it to us, we consider. And for your information, this is not a PR exercise, as you said. This is a very serious exercise. Go and check the finance bill that was finally not signed in 2024. Check what was introduced in Parliament and check the final product that went for signing. It was a very, very, very different document because we listened to the public, and those offensive clauses that were in the bill, we deleted all of them. This one we are doing here, we have had a lot of Kenyans speak on the same. And I can assure you, the proposal you are seeing will leave Parliament a different proposal because of the input of the Kenyan stakeholders who have engaged us in this room. And we will also go out of our way. In fact, we are going next week. We are doing sample counties to hear wananchi pale ground huko. Tutaenda Trans Nzoia, tunaenda Nandi na tunaenda Migori. Alafu Mombasa tunaenda Kilifi, Kwale na Mombasa, Kilifi na Kwale. Again, we want to hear different voices of Kenyans outside there. And I can tell you, I have been around for some time. And I know what we used to do 10 years ago in terms of public participation. We used to do, but not at the level we are doing it now because of Kenyans. So I think I want to encourage you that this is not a PR exercise, it's a very serious exercise. As to what Kenyans are saying about rejecting finance bill, I think Parliament has gone out of its way to involve Kenyans. Parliament has gone out of its way. We have even done explainer in the newspapers. If you check our online Parliament system, you will find finance bill, the explainers, and so forth. But of course, they say a lie travels 1,000,000 times than the truth. So when somebody lies and says, oh, this is bad. Now, if we are saying, for example, we are no longer taxing pension income, is that one bad? Mr. Is that one bad? Huh? We are now taxing pensioners. But now the bill proposes that since these people have been contributing to the country for a long time, now we need to exclude them from paying taxes. I thought that's a very good thing we are doing to your grandfather and your grandmother and our grandfathers. So I think the best thing we can do as Kenyans is let us read the bill, let us reject specific clauses of the bill where there are issues, and Parliament will rise to the occasion. Thank you.
Chair, what was
I think, Chair, before he responds, maybe the reason why we are doing this public participation, I think there is something I've had here consistently under tax procedures, the issue of data protection, where the bill proposes commissioner to have access to your data and business and business secrets. But every other person here has come here saying, delete that one, do not proceed. Every other person. So if you see the report tomorrow that I factored that one, what is the essence of public participation if not to take into consideration that? So I think the beauty of it is Kenyans, let them read the report after this exercise. You say reject, the report has not come out. Are we together, Collins? Until when the report is done, read the report now before you react.
Chair, you should not point the gun blazing on me.
No.
What I'm just insisting on is, as my colleague had said, make it simple. You said you'd be going to Garissa or other counties. Just make it simple for people of those communities. You understand that majority in Nairobi and probably major centers, the youths would come. But if you go to the villages, the women, the father, the grandfathers are the people who would come to those events. So just make it simple for them to understand, because at the end of the day, the finance bill affects all of us. So my message to you and your chair is just make it simple. Use the social media, because last year, the social media brought the finance bill down. Use the same platform to pass information about the finance bill. Just make it simple. Thank you.
Can I see how many people still want to speak?
It's enough. This person will do something supplemental.
The last one?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. So, gentlemen.
Unless somebody ameshikwa na roho mwingine.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I'll take at least just a minute. I wanted to add on this issue of job creation. And I'm quoting a principal research scientist at Kirdi who actually estimates that Kenya produces around 24,000 metric tons of waste. Now, the people who do this waste collection, Mr. Chair, when you look at them in the streets, or they don't look like very people you want to associate with. For instance, they have sacks in their bags, and the sacks are not so clean, and the people are not so clean. But then again, you know, I've always wondered, what do they carry in these particular sacks? But a closer scrutiny is, you'd find that they have cotton in these particular sacks. A kilogram of cotton goes for around 6 shillings, or 7 shillings, or 10 shillings, depending on the neighborhood you're coming from. And these particular cartons, in these particular sacks, they carry metal. A kilogram of metal is around 34 shillings. In these particular sacks, they carry plastics. A kilo of plastics back in the mtaa is around 15 shillings. We produce around 24,000 metric tons. 56% of this is normally organic waste. There's clearly a lot of opportunity in this particular space. And we also know that our president is actually an ambassador, a green economy ambassador. This is an area that can create a lot of employment for our youth. And as we speak, I don't know how much has been allocated to this circular economy by Honorable John Badi. And I don't know, as Parliament, what perhaps you can do to make this particular sector of the economy lucrative to people who perhaps want to join, because I'm thinking there's a lot of opportunity in this particular space. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was the last person. He had supplement. Can you switch off your microphone? He had supplementary. We had asked for people who have issues to come forward, and I think we have exhausted. Unless there is someone whom they feel is the spirit as Chairman is saying. It's okay, thank you.
We cannot go that route. Thank you, CPA Ruta, for chairing the session. Those of us who have made contributions and comments to this bill, asanteni sana. Hata wale wamekuja mashabiki wote ambao wamefika, tunawashukuru sana. Karibu tena siku nyingine, tukiwa na maneno ingine ya kujadiliana. We have come to the end of this session in Nairobi. We will adjourn, and we will meet again in different counties from next week to hear other people also who are unable to reach Nairobi. I want to thank the Secretariat for the good work they have done, and also for the good venue. I think this was even commented by the stakeholder. The venue this time is the best. So Commander and your team, thank you very much for getting a very good venue. From here, I think the meeting stands adjourned. I am informed by the clerk that there is lunch. So there is a gentleman who will give you meal cards somewhere. Then we all go and enjoy our lunch, and we can disperse. So to honorable members, asanteni sana. I repeat again, it is not a PR exercise, it's a serious exercise. So go home knowing that it is not a PR exercise, it's a serious exercise. Asanteni sana, and God bless all of you. Thank you.